Okay. Hey everybody, we're just getting ready to start, and I've been sorry we're a little late, but hey, it is what it is. I had things to do. Matters that we're here. Here at a good time, and that's it. So we're late, whatever. It is what it is. But you need you guys all to. No, ain't many there right now. Looks like I probably got the LIBTARDs here, because LIBTARD not say nothing, because they don't care.
Joining me now to discuss this development as the president celebrates his first 200 days, forensic accountant Sam Antar. Sam, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me on, rescuing my head out of a spreadsheet.
Okay, right, yeah, so you were the first one, again, to kind of uncover this whole Tish James drama. I was listening to an interview that she was doing, and she was claiming that you just have a vendetta against her, personal vendetta, that this was kind of like a clerical error, this house in Norfolk, Virginia, where she said she was going to be a resident. She is a top lawyer. This was just like kind of a paperwork mistake. What do you think?
Okay, first of all, I don't have a vendetta against her, and even if I did, it doesn't make a difference. She falsified mortgage documents. Case closed. Second of all, the mistake thing, the clerical error, doesn't happen 10 times over 22 years for a Brooklyn property and several times over the last 4 or 5 years for Virginia properties. These are not clerical errors. These are a pattern of fraud.
What do you think about the fact that she is now being investigated for the very crime she prosecuted President Trump for?
Well, I'm a Democrat. I really don't care about Trump. Mm-hmm. But the point being is that, yes, there is karma there. But I ignore the karma. My job, and it's not a job, it's really a hobby at this point because I'm quasi 99% retired. My hobby right now is to ferret out crime, and that's what I'm doing.
So what do you think about the grand jury? What will you think, they'll find? Do you think that they will actually, something will come of it?
I've laid out the case in my blog and in social media. I pointed to every single relevant document. Every single serious person that's looked at the evidence says it's damning to her. It's an open and shut case. The only thing that may happen is more people like mortgage brokers, title companies, closing lawyers. There might be more people brought into this net.
What do you say that she says that you have a vendetta and that the Trump administration is simply weaponizing the Justice Department to go after her, and that you're just basically a tool in it? You're a useful idiot, almost, she's saying.
How do you weaponize a phony signature? She put a pencil on. She put a signature on paper. I didn't put it there. Okay. I am just a forensic accountant. I've been doing this for 30 years after the Crazy Eddie fraud. I've been teaching. This is a hobby because I'm quasi-retired.
How do you feel that it's gotten to this point now?
Validation.
I mean, because think about it. You were just at home kind of looking stuff up, figuring things out, and now here we are. Now it's national headlines. We have the Department of Justice investigating, a grand jury being impaneled, and it all because of you.
Yes, and not only that, we're going to go further. In the coming months, I am going to develop a case against the machine that produces the Letitia Jameses of society and the Zohran Mamdanis of society and other corrupt politicians irrespective of party. I'm going to go after all the nonprofits. It's called grassroots washing. Okay?
Are you afraid? I mean, they went after President Trump. They tried to put him behind bars for the rest of his life. Are you worried?
No, I don't care.
I've got a third second. I can't do it right now because I'm driving.
Watch what salt does to your body. This 7-second artery flush could save your life. Even top doctors are baffled. Turns out, this proven protocol restores blood flow to the heart, brain, and other vital organs without doing anything drastic, like diet changes, drugs, or risky heart surgeries. Just listen to this. Kind of surprising, but eating too little salt can be just as dangerous as eating too much. Alarming, right? Most people think eating less salt means healthier blood pressure, but a top Miami heart doctor says that's like turning down the water pressure to fix a clogged pipe. He explains it like this. Inside all of our arteries is something called the endothelium. Endothelium is like Teflon coating. It's super smooth and allows blood to flow easily, but over time, this smooth coating gets damaged and holes form. Your body tries to help by filling in the holes with plaque. The problem is, it doesn't stop. Plaque keeps accumulating in your arteries, and over time turns them brittle, rigid, and narrow, like a crusty, clogged pipe. Now your heart has to pump harder to push blood through, spiking your blood pressure. That's why many folks feel fatigued and...
Senator... That's the one that I want you guys all to watch here. Actually see. And they gotta get...
Adam Schiff and Attorney General Letitia James are finally going to pay for their crimes against banks, insurance companies, states, and Donald Trump's family. They are now both officially under investigation with a special counsel assigned to each of them. The very man to do this task is Ed Martin, the attorney that Adam Schiff said was the most dangerous man in Washington, D.C., and worked overtime to discredit and block. He is now his own personal nightmare. Thank you guys so much for liking and sharing these videos. Let's jump right in. All right, many of you have been wanting accountability. I do too. I believe that it's coming. It's just going to take time to get the biggest of the big names. However, I've got some medium to big names that are in big trouble. Now, I don't have a date on when Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and others will be arrested or indicted, but I believe it's coming. However, I do have some breaking news about Adam Schiff and Attorney General Letitia James. Senator Adam Schiff said that Attorney Ed Martin was a terrible person, that he was a terrible prosecutor, and the most dangerous man in Washington, D.C., and he would do everything in his power to block him from being the U.S. District Attorney of Washington, D.C. Let's go ahead and watch what he had. Going to find it just as fascinating as I did.
This is one of, if not the worst nominations Trump has made, and but this guy clears it. And this particular U.S. Attorney's Office is very important. They all are, but this one handles not only federal crimes, but because it's in the District of Columbia, a lot of serious state crimes as well. So it's really double duty in that office. The last thing you want is someone who has no prosecutorial experience, and Martin has none. The last thing you want is someone whose only relevant experience is defending people who violently attacked the Capitol, who he believes should be restored whatever fines and restitution they paid and deserve reparations. That is, the perpetrators of that crime. Someone who dismissed a case against his own client, a plain ethical violation. Someone who has touted this Nazi sympathizer, this Hitler mustache-wearing sympathizer. This is a partial list, but the decision by Tom Tillis is significant. I put a hold on his nomination. Dick Durbin has called for a hearing in the Judiciary Committee. All of this has allowed us to get out more information to the committee and the public about how dangerous the nomination.
Okay, so he's the most dangerous guy in Washington, D.C., yet he's a terrible prosecutor, doesn't have enough experience. This job is too big for him. He's a Nazi sympathizer and a Hitler sympathizer. Are you kidding me, Adam Schiff? Yeah. Like, you're a total moron. Well, now, U.S. District Ed Martin, the man Adam Schiff called dangerous, to be the special counsel investigator of Adam Schiff and his alleged 10-plus years of mortgage fraud, claiming to be a first property not only in Maryland, but also in California, but spending most of his time in the state of California while pretending to represent the people of California. Here's more about Adam Schiff and what he had to say about Ed Martin. I want to show this to you because this guy, he just kept going on and on and on about how terrible of a human being he is. Let me pull this up. Laughing my butt off, Adam Schiff is now being investigated by Special Attorney Ed Martin. And look how absolutely mortified Schiff was during Ed Martin's confirmation process. My gosh, I think Schiff knew that what was coming. Now, his worst fears have become a reality. Ed Martin is investigating him for mortgage fraud. So, Adam Schiff, no one embodies Donald Trump's personal weaponization of the Justice Department more than Ed Martin. I'm doing everything I can to block Ed Martin's nomination to U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia. Ed Martin may well be Trump's worst nominee, and that's a tough competition. Trump is placing a hold on. I'm placing a hold on President Trump's U.S. Attorney in D.C. For the past few weeks, Ed Martin has been a one-man wrecking ball, threatening opponents, firing public servants, and using his office to chill freedom of speech. His nomination must be blocked. Ed Martin was a stop-the-steal lawyer. He said we should go easier on people who beat cops. I put a hold on Ed Martin's nomination. If this isn't poetic justice, like down to the very definition, then I don't know what is. Like, please let me know in the comments what you think. The very man that he demonized, tried to ruin his career, called a Nazi sympathizer, is the very guy who's going to be investigating him. I mean, it's insane. Now, to make this story even sweeter for you, my viewers, he is also being asked to lead the special counsel investigation against Attorney General Letitia James of New York for her alleged mortgage fraud. Now, Letitia James is now caught up in two separate grand jury investigations and now a special counsel investigation. I reached out to Sam Antar, the guy that's bringing everything home, and he said, Stephen, it's actually about to get even worse. Now, let me know in the comments, is this what you voted for? Actually holding people accountable that tried to ruin your life and my life, that gaslit us, that demonized us, and tried to ruin President Trump. This is exactly what we need. We need not political retribution, but political accountability for these scumbags. So then CNN actually had the stones to go on and try to defend Letitia James and say that Donald Trump was a bad dude and that this was so wrong. Let me show you what they were saying on CNN.
To let her do the same thing.
I want to apologize to everyone who's already bought this natural healing handbook.
Let's go. We know LIBTARD, man. They like her so much.
Attorney General Letitia James's office. This comes as part of a criminal investigation into James, who previously prosecuted Trump. Let's go live right now to our correspondent, Bryn Gingras in New York. What are you learning, Bryn?
Yeah, well, so we're getting this information. Arcaris Canal confirming that there are now two grand jury subpoenas issued by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of New York, looking to get information about James's office, basically trying to see if there was any criminality by her office when she filed that civil lawsuit against the Trump organization. If you remember that lawsuit going to trial and the Trump organization being found liable, having to owe now at this point because of interest about $500 million in penalty. So it appears that this is a pursuit to figure out if there was any criminality in the investigation moving forward to that lawsuit. So we're still trying to work out all the details of this, but we also understand there is another subpoena in relation to James suing the NRA, if you remember, the National Rifle Association, which was also found liable after the lawsuit her office filed. Now we know that James is a big adversary of Trump, and we know that Trump has has a history of going after people who have gone against him. He's spoken out many times against James herself during the time of that trial, and even most recently. So this is something, of course, that we're going to continue to follow, but that is the latest news that we're getting right now, again, from Mark Harris-Canal.
All right. They keep saying that this is political retribution. Donald Trump did not make Letitia James lie on a mortgage application.
Nope.
And lie about a primary residence and then not move from New York to Virginia. Donald Trump did none of that. Nope. Donald Trump did not make Adam Schiff. He did not hold his hand and force him to scribble out Adam Schiff. He didn't do any of that. These people brought this on themselves. They committed the sin. They've got to pay for that. And these are big deals. Like, this sends people to jail for mortgage fraud, right? I mean, they found Paul Manafort, one of Trump's people. They couldn't find anything. What did they find? They found mortgage fraud. The guy ended up in jail. So this isn't political revenge. Trump's not even the one going after them. It's this Jew in New York named Sam Antar, who's a Democrat and just happens to hate the fact that Letitia James might get away with a crime. That's what's really going on. Same thing with Adam Schiff. Others have been investigating this. It's not Donald Trump. Donald Trump is preventing wars. Donald Trump is bringing in billions and billions of dollars of money from tariffs. So these are just made-up stories to make Donald Trump look bad, and they're not going to work. Now, if I could, let me just stay on the topic of Adam Schiff for a few more minutes. Adam Schiff is now saying he will do everything in his power to stop Donald Trump's new census. He says this is plainly unconstitutional and the president knows it. But more than that, it's another blatant attempt by Trump to rig the next election and gerrymander more Republican seats. We'll fight this. So far, the Democrats are the gerrymanderers. That's been proven. And you guys, the Democrats, you rigged the 2020 election. And then when you couldn't rig the 2016 election, you did everything you could with the Russia hoax to retroactively rig the election. So this guy is dangerous. He needs to be taken out of Congress. I can't believe he has. Let me know in the comments, do you want to see Adam Schiff pay for his crimes and his lying? I do. I mean, Schiff is now saying he's going to do everything he can. He says that this is a waste of taxpayer money. It's illegal. It's unconstitutional. What he's really terrified of, and a lot of people have done the math, is that Democrats lose 20 to 30 seats in Congress once you remove illegal immigrants. Now, I swear on my mother's life, whom I love, if the Republicans block Trump from doing this census, I'm going to lose my mind because he can't do everything. His party should be on his side, and yet you have these rhinos and minos that continue to try to block him. It's just absolutely makes me crazy. All right, now, one of you in the comments asked a really great question. You said, Stephen, could you do some research and explain to the community the difference between the DOJ strike force and the DOJ special counsel? So let me explain that to you in the context of current news events. A DOJ strike force, like the one announced in July, to assess evidence from Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard on the Russia hoax investigation, is a focused, task-oriented team designed to evaluate specific allegations or evidence quickly, often with a narrow scope. It aims to investigate potential legal steps stemming from disclosure, such as alleged intelligence community weaponization, and operates directly under DOJ oversight. Now, on the other side, a traditional special counsel investigation like Robert Mueller, his probe into the Russia interference, which ended up not being true, is appointed to independently investigate potential crimes such as collusion or obstruction of justice with broader prosecutorial powers, including subpoenas and indictments. Now, special counsels operate autonomously, nearly independent of the Department of Justice. Yes, they report up to the Attorney General, but usually just for resources, not on the outcome of the case. And typically, they handle complex, politically sensitive criminal violations. So the strike force is agile and very narrow and has a team, where a special investigator, they take their time and they go deep, and they're very, very independent. So hopefully that makes sense. Essentially, a special prosecutor is left to independently investigate, and the DOJ stays hands off. But where we're talking about Obama, Hillary Clinton, John Brennan, James Clapper, James Comey, and others, these are big names, and they've got to line everything up. So this is why the DOJ is specifically handling the Russia situation on their own. All right. One. President Trump is now...
Oh, come on.
I serve my country, and now I carry legally everywhere I go. Here's how. National Concealed...
I will let you guys go. This is a good one. President Trump is now 14 points higher in popularity at this time than he was during his first term.
What about you,
That's huge.
Are you higher?
So
Are you popular?
what he's doing is what MAGA wants. He is keeping his campaign promises. He is getting the job done, and they're loving him for it. Yeah. It's awesome. It's really, really great. So let me know in the comments, do you still support Donald Trump? I've been listening to Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones debate whether it's time to drop Donald Trump, what his actual involvement is with Epstein, whether he's being blackmailed or controlled or puppeteered by Israel. I mean, to me, it's crazy. I think that people are grasping at straws. I don't believe that he is a part of the Jeffrey Epstein crimes. I don't believe that he is controlled by Israel, although I acknowledge Israel has a very strong influence over American government. We would be crazy to say that that is not true. But I don't believe that he's being blackmailed by Ben. It just takes time to roll things out. And if we really want big names to go to jail, then they have down below. I'm going to keep this brief. I'll be on again later to bring you guys more news. Do you want to see Adam Schiff arrested? Do you want to see Letitia James arrested? Yeah. I do. I think that they broke the law, committed crimes, and on top of that, they were horrible to MAGA and Donald Trump and his family. All right, I love you guys. If you could, share this video. It's good news for the MAGA base. Share it with everyone you know, and give this video a like so that YouTube will share it with others. I love you. Stay amazing, and I will see you on the next video.
Trump could abolish the IRS. Guys, it's coming. There's no reason it has to be there. You know, he's already trying to abolish the Department of Education, to all these extra governmental institutions. Trump is going radical. He loves it. He deserves it. He's thinking way outside of the box in all these ways that he can save America. The oppressive, evil IRS, those stinking agents would call, and everyone lives under this threat. You know, the IRS will break your door down at gunpoint and say, pay your taxes. And I'll say, go to that illegal and tell him first, because that guy's getting cheap wages because he don't got to pay taxes. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. My audience, you're already the best audience in the world. I got smart people, I got dumb people, but I only have good people in my audience. And I watch 4 videos a day. I got a comment last night from someone that said, I watched all 4 and I even watched all the way through the commercials to help pay you more. I almost started crying. These guys are incredible. You're incredible. Selfish people everywhere else in the world, not my audience. Thanks for making me a happy camper, doing my job, making it a lot easier. Here we go. Breaking: President Trump has just appointed Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent as acting IRS commissioner. Now, this is what started the rumors.
We've already seen California burn, Texas drown, and tens of thousands take to the street.
That this could be Trump's first step to abolish the IRS. What happened to the last guy? This guy, I did a video, oh man, it was when Trump first won. I know it looks like he was shot with a wide-angle lens. No, this is an accurate lens. Trump fires IRS Commissioner Billy Long just 2 months after confirmation. So he confirmed him, canned him. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent will serve as acting commissioner in his place. It's coming. But wait, the wins keep stacking up. Look at this deer. Here's the deer in the headlights freak, Judge Boasberg. Circuit Court of Appeals says Judge Boasberg was way out of line by holding the Trump administration in. He didn't have jurisdiction in the case. Let's watch the short 40-second.
Welcome back. A federal appeals court siding with President Trump, announcing today it is dismissing a federal judge's contempt ruling over deportations of suspected Venezuelan gang members to El Salvador. You might remember back in April, federal judge James Boasberg ruled there was enough probable cause to hold the White House in contempt for deporting migrants under the 1798 Alien Enemies Act. Well, the appeals court ruled today that Boasberg overstepped his authority when he handed down that contempt ruling.
Democrats overstepping their authority. You know what another word for that, for overstepping authority is? Totalitarianism. What they charge Trump of, he oversteps. He doesn't understand the boundaries of the president. No, you're bug-eyed freak Democrats that look like every bureaucrat in every 80s action film, the clipboard, the accountant, the guy that looks like he's an auditor for the IRS. This guy, you know, if Ernie and Bert, if this guy's eyebrows were any thicker, he'd look just like Bert. Ernie, put my nose back on. Sorry, Bert. Where's my rubber duck? No, Bert liked pigeons. I'm sorry. This freak, this guy. And you know what? He's going to be a fall guy for the Democrat Party. They thought he was going to be their hero, and little did he know, dude, they're going to discard you like an old dirty rag when they're. That guy's a shame. He doesn't know anything about legal theory.
President Trump calling for a new census that would exclude undocumented immigrants.
And if Trump excludes the undocumented immigrants from the census, the Democrats will never win again. They can't win. And they're a fake lie party that should go away. They were never telling you the truth. There isn't even a Democrat anymore that even believes in that party. Transing kids, a couple of people in your art department, lunatics in your art department believe that. A few actors, activists, weirdos, people at PETA, they believe it. A few of them. Otherwise, that Democrat Party is no longer a national party. Remember, they were illegally funded by U.S.A. So all just money laundering, fake money, stealing your taxes, reappropriating it. Almost the entire State Department, probably 80% of state workers, that's millions of employees, were Democrats. And all they were doing, they were all just reorienting money and washing it right back into their party here in America. They go, oh, it's for the children, for the starving children, save the children fund. And only 14% would get to the children. The rest went to big fat Democrat coffers. Now we're shutting them down. That's where the funding came from. The propaganda media arm was policing. It was CNN, NBC. Those were the jackbooted, that's their SS patrol. To control your mind was media, news, Hollywood, universities, and big tech. So they would go and send their strong arm art, and if you said something wrong on Facebook, boop, you got disappeared or downplayed. Your speech was destroyed. And so that was the only way they can control their bad ideas. That if you were for operating on children's genitals without their parents' approval. Okay, if you were for it, you'd get pushed up on top of the stack in all social media. Everyone saw your posts. And if you were, and that's why it looked like there was more of them than there were. They had preferred marketing. And then if you went against it and said, I think parents should have rights over the government on what sex their children are, on if their children were allowed to be a biological male and shouldn't be taken away by the government, you had your account destroyed or pushed down and made invisible so it looked like they were less normies, even though that's how Trump goes. I know what an 80% issue is. I know what an 80-20 issue is. And then he just runs on it. And lo and behold, he blew the Democrats out of the water. The marketing wing, all of CNN, Disney, they're paying him fines of millions of dollars because they overstepped their boundary. Holy cow, we were caught doing propaganda. We were wrong, Trump. Even before there's a lawsuit. Here, take $15-20 million. Just please don't sue us. We'll give you the money. You should have turned it down and sued him, by the way. Sued out of existence. And now the census, their vote tallies were pumped up by illegals, barely voters, late voters, no signature matching, no ID, millions. And their congressional districts, the House of Representatives is overrepresented by Democrats right now. They're going to lose seat after seat. The universe is actually more Republican than it looked. We were being gaslit. We thought we were barely hanging on before Trump won. Before Trump won, people go like, I don't know if we can win again. You know, it's a good 50-50. America is split. No, they were always overrepresenting themselves in every job. That's why you go to sensitivity training at your job. I don't care if you're a trucker. My brother's a trucker. You have to go to sensitivity training. What do they learn? White people are racist. Everyone is going through their brainwashing ceremonies, the secular progressive religion, this atheistic Marxist religion. Everyone's being pushed to sensitivity training, human resources. Don't look at a woman's skirt. Don't compliment her blouse, or you're doing the male gaze. It's all brainwashing, guys. It's all a lie. If everything had to actually be fair, which the vote is supposed to reflect that, right? It's supposed to be a democracy. You know, I know it's a democratic republic. Shut up, everyone going like this isn't a democracy. I get it. Of the governed, where you go out and you vote. Don't give me a vocabulary lesson, Grandpa. I know you guys are older and wiser than me, but just let me. They're anti-democracy. They're anti the vote. They don't even want to go out and ask what people actually think. They don't care what you think. They're here to tell you what to think. They'd be horrified if what people think actually went and ran this government in America. You, the patriot, they don't want you running this country, Mon Pa. They hate your guts. They see someone in a trailer park and they're like, they would walk across the other side of the street if they saw you coming. Unless you're wearing a mask. If you're wearing a mask, go, oh, they vote Democrat. I'll share the sidewalk with you. You're the good people. Thank you, mask wearer. Morons. Oh, my. New. J.P. Morgan is forecasting. Let me get this on screen here. J.P. Morgan is forecasting the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates in September and 4 more times this year. That's the J.P. Morgan forecast. What does that mean? It means the economy is humming along so well that Jerome Powell is going, look, I have to lower interest rates. Usually they keep them up to keep you. It keeps people from borrowing money, or it costs more money to buy money. That's a higher interest rate, right? If you need a $200,000 loan or whatever for a house, it's going to cost you more. They lower that interest rate in 4 more times. That could be 4 quarters. It's going to set this economy on fire, absolutely on fire. People can afford homes. Businesses can afford cheaper loans to start a business. It's going to be amazing. You will see shocking prosperity if that's true. Now, the fear is you give people cheap money. Too much money gets flushed into the system and things start to inflate. They cost much more for you to buy things. If everyone has too much money, they're buying boats, they're buying jet skis, maybe even they're just buying too much beer. But everything is starting to get too much stuff in it. But we'll see 4 quarters of lowering interest rates. Trump doesn't even know what that's like. to have someone at the Fed working on interest rates that might actually benefit him. They always artificially benefited Biden because his economy was a disaster and it was all politicized. Look, here's some love for Mike Lindell, also winning. Mike Lindell posted, appeals court hands over $5 million win to Mike Lindell, and that's good. He needs lots of millions of dollars. Go buy Mike Lindell sheets. You notice I'm not even a spokesperson. I'm not telling you what link to go and click on Doug in Exile and buy his wonderful sheets, his wonderful pillows, pillowcases, slippers, pet supplies. I'm not paid to say that. And I'm telling you, this is high quality, great product. I've got a MyPillow on every bed in my house. Every one of my kids lay their head down on a MyPillow. Every night I have a MyPillow that I sleep on. Not a paid endorsement. I don't know if anyone's ever done that in the history of men. That's how much I love Mike Lindell, and I legit like Mike Lindell's product. I'm just here to remind you, his business has been Eagleman breaking. Texas AG Ken Paxton has just filed with the Texas Supreme Court to declare all 13 Democrat House seats vacant, empty, AWOL. They left the state. We got to refill them with Republicans out there in Texas. I would just grab anyone, guys. Alex Jones, Stephen Crowder. I'd even take a lunatic like Candace Owens. Get her in there. We got to refill these seats. Santos, get them all in there. It's time to remove them from their positions. There's the actual document, petition for writ of quo warranto. I don't even know what that means, but Ken Paxton on it. Thank you, sir. Replace them. Now, speaking of, here's one of them, Texas Rep. Jolanda Jones says Democrats want to stop redistricting so they'll be able to impeach Trump. Whoops, she said the quiet part out loud. Jolanda Jones on this podcast. I feel like, look at this, I feel like I'm in Irvine, California.
Know this, I'm running for Congressional District 18. Y'all see how I'm fighting now? That's how I'm going to fight in CD 18.
Wifo, you talking like that? See that? This is how I talk now. What do you mean you're going to run in 18 district? Your district hopefully will be gone. Redistrict it. You ain't running for nothing, lady.
Because we need somebody who is not afraid of Donald Trump.
You know what? No one's afraid of Donald Trump. This whole casting, this brainwashing of they just afraid of Donald Trump. They with their hat. That's what Jasmine Crockett said. But Black MAGA with their hats.
He's dumber than a box of rocks.
The thirst. Really? He's dumb as a rock. He's smarter than y'all.
Oh, Donald Trump, dumber than a box of rocks. You know, he cracked a new system of tariff relief for the government that no economic expert ever even imagined. He opened up funding for AI that could bring like $80 trillion into America and pay off the debt. He's some kind of weird gut genius. I can't think of what's even dumber than a box of rocks about him. I think intelligence can mean a lot of things. Street intelligence means something. This lady, she knows about that. There's a lot of wisdom things. You know, Grandpa may have never read Shakespeare and Aristotle, but man, you set that guy loose on a car engine. He was a genius compared to me.
And I'm a 30-year lawyer. So.
Oh, big bad lawyer. Yeah, lawyers. You ain't smart. That don't make you smart. Might make you a reptile.
I'm not scared of him. I will vote against his stuff. I will.
You know what? How's this news? Are you pretending like that's a genius statement to make in a democracy? I'm going to vote against his stuff. Yeah, a lot of people vote against his stuff. It's called America. We do votes. That's how we do things. You vote. I'm being generous, unlike all you people. Some of us vote for stuff. Yeah, lady, we all vote for stuff, okay? Welcome to America. Is this news to you? You're going to vote against his stuff? Guess what? I'm going to vote against your stuff.
Investigate the hell out of him.
Investigate the hell. Yeah. And again, all you're doing is justifying the sentiment that we're going to investigate the hell out of you. Yes. Investigate the hell out of him. What do you think you guys did for 4 years, weirdos? invented charges against him. Maybe we'll invent some charges against you too, and then you'll see how it feels to call your normal business work. How about I go into your real estate, your housing or your apartment or whatever you live in, your condo, and charge you with real estate fraud, like Letitia James did to judge. How about we investigate you that way, the way y'all investigated Trump? How about that? Made up, bogus. You want that? Yeah, investigate him. Okay.
And then we will impeach him.
Yeah, impeach him. All you're saying is, please impeach the next Democrat. That's all you're saying. And at least she just said the quiet part out loud, guys. This is the truth reason why these Democrats are AWOL, why she's hiding out in a hotel room. Look at those tacky curtains. I think this lady is a woman of style. If you look at how she's dressed, she would not hang those curtains in her own house. I'm no Sherlock Holmes, but that's a hotel room curtain that she... That's why they're all on the run. They want to encourage each other to stay on the run. Do not show up, because why? If they don't pull off, if they resist this redistricting by Texas, if they can just hold out, they will be able to impeach Donald Trump. She just said it, guys. I didn't say it. She said it. We impeached Donald Trump. Yeah. No, you're not. No, you're not. Trump's onto you. No census, so you're going to lose half your voters. Redistricting, we're going to draw up fair districts. Half y'all jobs going to disappear. Half y'all positions aren't even going to be there. Jasmine Crockett ain't going to be there to do her wagon. Forget a wagon. Sorry. You got nothing. Trump is cleaning your clocks in ways even conservatives couldn't imagine. Scott Jennings on the census. I like CNN. This guy's a little slow. Only just now figuring it out. Trump escalates redistricting war with call for a new census. Wait a minute. A new census, but that's going to mean we can't impeach Trump, right?
Scott Jennings, do you think the president wants to do a mid-decade census and reapportion everything right now? What's he doing?
Well, he certainly wants to do the census in a way that doesn't count illegal aliens as part of the overall population for the purpose of determining congressional districts and federal funding. And I think he's going to have a lot of popular support for it. Now, I know
Radical doesn't want illegals counted in the census that's supposed to count the what citizens are in what area.
To do a census, but there is a widespread belief that...
By the way, it takes about a year to do a census, guys. So even if they call the census, I don't know if we're going to get it in before next year's vote. I don't know if it helps us yet, but for sure before 2028.
Democrats want to keep the system in place that they have because it advantages them. I know that that's what they believe because a Democratic congresswoman from New York, Clark, the other day said out loud, I want more migrants in my district for redistricting purposes. And so it's a political strategy of the Democrats. And I think the president's saying to the American people, why are we counting illegal aliens, unauthorized residents in this country when it comes to apportioning our political leadership?
So the census is going to be real messed up if the Supreme Court, which I don't know how the Supreme Court's going to rule. You're right. It's a very conservative Supreme Court.
Messed up now.
Well, is it messed up? I mean, they're counting people who live in the United States.
No doubt now, that's one way of putting it. They're counting people. She didn't say citizens. Anna Kasparian, come on, you were doing so good for a while, for the last year. You were doing so good. And now you just lost it. Be honest. Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks. The census counts people. Does it just count people? What about people in France? What about people in Antarctica? Why doesn't it count them? And oh, because they're not citizens, they're not residents. Okay, so you don't just mean people. Are they not human beings? Oh, because they're not citizens here. Come on. I know that you dye your hair blonde. That doesn't mean you have to act like a blonde.
The vote, but it determines who gets to serve.
Every census in history up until this point.
No, it also determines who's in Congress, and it might mean 20 to 30 seats. That's what
it might be, 20 to 30 seats. Guys, did you hear that? Republicans get 20 to 30 seats. Ain't no Democrats going to impeach Trump. Texas lady, sorry. Now this one I've got a circle of doom here on the feedback, so I don't need to show you this video. But here's Benny Johnson breaking. The Texas House Speaker has officially rolled out harsher penalties for rogue Democrats who flood the state. Let's take a look at these harsher penalties that Texas is rolling out. $500 a day fine. That is not a harsher penalty, Benny Johnson. They have bigger cocaine budgets for the Democrat houses. That is not a fine. That is not punitive. That doesn't change anything. My brother Benny, my friend, I've never met him. That's a colloquialism. Shutting down direct deposit. Ooh, don't take away my direct deposit. Paychecks only available in person. So now that's a good strategy. It's not going to change anything. They don't need their money, cash, checks in person. They're going to use credit cards out there. They're going to go to friends' houses. Beto O'Rourke has already said that he would underwrite their hotel room, which also are going to trigger an investigation. But this isn't punitive. This is. You slap my hand. Oh no, what am I going to do? 30% of operation budget slashed. What are we ever going to do? We can't buy donuts with our operation budget. They don't care. Slash the whole budget. Zero it out. Yeah. My people. Look, this is my favorite one. Benny, come on. Newsletters canceled. Newsletters canceled. That's going to scare a Democrat to come back? My little photocopied newsletter full of lies and propagandas got canceled. That's not going to scare them back into office, guys. That's not cutting your gloves off. Cut the gloves off. This is what we're talking about right here. Brian Harrison, another day of a quorum break with no real consequences. I'm with this guy in exile, my chat, my people out there. You, the American people. Is this guy more like how you want things done? Listen to this guy.
Hey guys, Brian Harrison here. Friday, it is day number 5 officially of the Democrat quorum break.
Remember, his name is Brian.
Eating too much salt causes hypertension, right? Nope. What about too much bacon and red meat? Nope. It's actually calcium buildup that turns arteries to stone. Do this to clear calcium.
Remember, his name is Brian Harrison.
But with the full assistance of the so-called Republican leadership of the Texas House, not only
so-called leadership of the Republican Texas House. He's calling out Republicans, guys. What do you think of that? Do we keep the knives pointed out, or be a bunch of Chip Roy types out there? Are the Republicans playing too soft? Because what are we going to do, guys? Can you believe it? He cut his gloves off. The Republicans cut their gloves off and canceled the Democrats' newsletter.
Is it just another day of quorum break without the Democrats? It's another day with absolutely no real consequences. A bunch of fake hot air, theater, bad drama, but nothing that actually shows the Democrats or anybody in Texas or anywhere across America that the elected Republican leadership is serious. There have been no...
This is primarily against the elected Republican leaderships. You're doing nothing. You're doing nothing. People, call them out. I'm saying this to my audience. You talk, they'll listen.
Arrests, no seats vacated, no charges filed, no committee stripped, no seniority removed.
No seniority removed. What about the canceled newsletter? Shouldn't we be going easy on them and just canceling a newsletter?
This is a joke. In fact, the Democrats were told today by the Speaker that they will be paid in full when they return.
When you come back, we're going to cut your expenditures by 30%, but we'll give it all back to you guys. Come on, my brothers, Democrat, you lefty communist honkies, get on in here in the Republican Country Club in Texas. Yeehaw! Ging mo mao, put on your hat, put on your boots. We're going to rustle up some cows and hit the rattlesnakes. We're Texas proud, Texas star, Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, fake country club, Republican, fake cowboys, fake Southern drawl. You're not helping America. I expect more from Texas. Where's the guts? Where's the Alamo? Country club, do nothing. You canceled a newsletter. The country's at stake. Trump is going to get impeached. Fake drawl, country music, dust on my boots. I'm going to ride my quad. I'm going to take an inner tube down the river. Drink my light beer. Shoot my shotgun. You ain't doing caca. You ain't doing nothing. You canceled a newsletter. Fake Texan. I know real Texan. These guys are fake Texan. You Republicans. canceled it.
This might have to pick up a hard copy check as opposed to it being direct deposit. This is fundamentally unserious. Texans want results. They want action. Not
you from Texas? Tell them in the chat. Tell these people in the chat what you want, especially if you're from Texas. Any southern district, like any southern state. If you're a real country person, if you're real homegrown, corn-fed, if you're real, I'm talking about Hank Williams country music, not this new rap music country music. Old school, the Outlaws. Are you Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, Merle Haggard, or are you the new rap country music? All full of these rhinestones and sunglasses and a big bent up baseball cap. I eat corn. Shotgun, I got my pickup truck. Fake, performative. None of them roll their own cigarettes. Fake.
Just words. The time for action, the time for words has come and gone, and I'm very sorry about this, guys. You deserve a lot better than this. I'll keep reporting. Brian Harrison, God bless you. God bless Texas.
Brian Harrison, God bless you, and God bless Texas. Will you all say a prayer for Brian Harrison right now? Right now, pray for this guy's safety. He is drawing a line. And he's on the right side of the line. Look at this. South Park, making fun of Kristi Noem. That's South Park. Okay, they think it's funny. Now, I think it's lazy, but they have her in her ICE outfit. And so this, by the way, this is Republicans and Christians and conservatives and MAGA. This is how you handle when people make fun of you. South Park made fun of her plastic surgery. So what does Kristi Noem do? Oh, look up here. She used this South Park image of her as her avatar. That's Kristi Noem's official checkmark position. She used it as her avatar. They were trying to make fun of her. She goes, oh, yeah? How about I take your graphic and use it to represent me? And she, up here, join.ice.government, she puts the ICE application in her tweet. We don't cry and get offended and start calling for boycotts of South Park. We've got thick skin. Say what you want about me. Make fun of me all day. Make fun of my values. Make fun of my... We're going to win. We're going to save this country. We're good. We're winning. You're losing. How bad are we winning? Look at this. Muse SCOTUS handed Trump his 16th straight victory at the Supreme Court, proving the Obama-Biden appointed judges are activists improperly delaying the president's agenda. This time the Supreme Court made it clear the president can fire the Biden appointees running the Consumer Product Safety Commission. Time for new impeachments. What do you think? We're winning. The Supreme Court is winning. Sometimes it takes some time, guys. I get that it's slow, but he's saving America. There's good news. We're cutting the gloves off and fighting. That Brian Harris guy, that guy out in Texas, man, there are still patriots in Texas, in spite of the goober country club, bad tie, Republican Party out there. We're going to take even that back and straighten them out before this whole thing's done. If you're in the Quad Club, thanks for watching all the way to the end. You are my people. I see you in the chat. Hundreds of comments going Quad Club, Quadzilla, 4X. I hear you guys. Let me know you're out there. I'm Doug in exile.
Dear women with edema.
Oh.
Try this 2-second edema flush and watch your legs go from this to this. It sounds...
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabio for Explain America. And yes, a sanctuary city sheriff finally facing justice. But you're never going to believe the reason. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. You know, maybe I'm not giving you enough credit. Maybe you will believe the reason. After all, this is what liberals do. How many times in a month, do I come to you guys with another Democrat, another liberal getting arrested? How often does this happen? Even when Biden was president, they were getting arrested, not at the same clip, but they were getting arrested. They were getting charged with crimes. Bob Menendez springs to mind immediately. So this is what they do. They truly believe they're above the law, all the while, by the way, telling you that you're not. telling you that President Trump is not, telling you that nobody is. But the truth is, these people absolutely see themselves as above the law. Well, one Boston area sheriff, sanctuary city, sanctuary state, found himself on the wrong side of the law. And why? Well, it wasn't because of the sanctuary policies, believe it or not. It was because, and get this, he tried to shake down a cannabis. See, in order for them to get their license, essentially he attempted to extort them, where he would be able to buy $50,000 worth of stock before the IPO, okay? Take that stock, and guess what? The stock more than doubled. But then something happened, as stocks often do. The stock tumbled. And when it tumbled, he went back to the people who let him buy the stock at $50,000 and demanded a full refund of the $50,000, which they gave him, because at this point he had intimidated them, he had pressured them, he had essentially, according to the complaint, and this is very important, allegedly extorted them. This is what the Department of Justice is alleging. Now, of course, the sheriff vehemently denies any wrongdoing and says, of course, that he will vigorously defend himself in a court of law. The evidence is the evidence. You can judge for yourself. I want you to watch this and let me know what you think in the comments.
Hours to make that statue. Suffolk County Sheriff Stephen Tompkins finds himself on the wrong side of the law. He's under arrest, accused of extorting a Boston-based cannabis company. Prosecutors say that Tompkins pressured the company to give him stock before the company went public because his office had helped the firm get a license to sell cannabis in Boston. According to the indictment, Tompkins demanded his original investment be returned after the value of the stock dropped. Experts say Tompkins has a tough defense to make.
I'm sure he'll have some sort of defense or explanation as to why he wasn't shaking down a company, which is essentially the charge. He's, shaking down a company for his own benefit. And if that's what the facts show, he's got a problem.
The cannabis company has not been identified. Tompkins has been Suffolk County Sheriff since 2013. A construction worker is dead after falling from a rooftop in Salem. It happened yesterday afternoon on Grove Street.
This black gunk is why your neuropathy won't go away. Okay, this might look gross, but trust me, you need to see this. These patches draw out toxins and...
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America, and Jasmine Crockett, queen of the wild frontier. Her career is coming to a close, and she's going out with a bang. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. Jasmine Crockett is not a happy camper these days. The Texas state legislature is about to redistrict her out of a job in the United States House, where she shouldn't be anyway. Jasmine Crockett is more concerned with being an influencer on X and wherever. To be an influencer. She wants to be the it girl. She doesn't know how to be a legislator. And I don't think she's particularly interested in being a legislator. I think that's a means to an end for her. And so she's in a bad mood. And it was just recently revealed by a staffer that she's lazy. Sits around all day. She wants to be driven around in a Cadillac. She demands that she be really treated like royalty by her staff. And after this information came out, she fired one of her staffers, a black woman. Jasmine Crockett fired a black woman. The irony in that doesn't escape me. This is a woman that, if Donald Trump fired a black woman, would be screaming about it on national television everywhere she could. But she did it. And why'd she do it? Because her ego was hurt. And her ego is massive. I want you guys to watch this and let me know what you think in the comments.
First to get the pink slip. Quote, I don't want to hear Jasmine Crockett talk about helping black women when she just fired one for no reason. K-Mac, is this how she really acts?
This is exactly how she really acts. And those were exact quotes, not from the opposition, not from Republicans, and not from just any Democrats. Those were from her staff talking about her. And she hasn't been in Congress very long. They say she doesn't show up. She just lays around her apartment. She cares more about press than she does representing people. And she's known to yell and lose her mind over small random items. We always in Congress have one or two people like this, and everybody knows who that is. She's the one in this cycle.
What's it like to work with people like this? I mean, she does raise a lot of cash, and she's on TV a lot, but she sounds like a mess.
Look, this is scary because on the Republican side we have Nancy Mace, the Democrats have Crockett, and they do this because in today's politics, but it's true. If you look at her staff, all turnover, exact same arguments. But what happens is by going on television is how they raise their money. That's how they raise their money online. I want the elected, the people across this country to look at who shows up to work, who represents you, who's there working the hardest for you, and showing up. That's an important part. And if you just look at how people treat their staff, that will tell you a lot how they treat their constituents.
K-Mac, what was the most
Say goodbye to your reading glasses and computer lenses. Introducing the revolutionary autofocus glasses from Germany, designed to change.
The Trump economy continues to baffle experts. You could be getting a $600 check, which I'm all for. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. This is going to be all economics and money and why Trump is saving America, doing major deals that are helping American businesses and everyday Americans in a way that even the experts could not imagine. First, here's Trump he broke Apple. Tim Cook broke them in half and got them to comply, bring their businesses over. We did a little bit on this yesterday. This is still developing today, and it's going to get even bigger. Here's Trump.
And Howard Stern. And I know this isn't a sports topic, but Howard Stern just got canceled by Sirius XM. They're not going to renew his contract. Howard Stern is perhaps the most fraudulent, disappointing media character. When Howard Stern was at the peak of his career, I saw the movie Private Parts. I read the book Private Parts. I had respect for Howard Stern. It's not that I thought he was the ultimate, but I thought he was authentic. He was politically incorrect. He was a shock jock, and he was the best at that. And then 10, 12, 15, this guy pivoted into this woke clown. And I think what I find it's the return of Donald Trump and the sea change around Donald Trump that is why SiriusXM is moving off of Howard Stern. That the culture no longer supports something as inauthentic as Howard Stern. Pretending he's some woke, and for some of you young people, I just want to play a couple of clips just reminding people of who Howard Stern is. But before the last decade has spent pretending to be some Black Lives Matter woke clown. Here's Howard Stern. Let's play shot number 10. This is Howard Stern in blackface.
Everything I'm going to say here tonight, so it's all right. Ain't that right, you smelly nigga? I didn't write that. Well, you is a smelly nigga. I got some more jokes for your New Year's Eve party there.
You're not tired of this.
And don't be racially offended, because Whoopi done wrote them for me, okay? Here we go.
Ahead.
Black hole.
Black hole.
You're going to love this. Now, look at that. What do I loves most about the Whoopi? Yeah.
Such great timing.
Hey, Robin, what does you call a black rocket scientist?
I don't know.
A nigga. Whoopi wrote it. Hey, did you happen to notice this?
No, what
this
is
here
that?
is my mother, Mama Dancing. Why, she done working blackface, too.
She must be very proud.
Yeah.
No, I know you really love me, Ted. You the man.
I tell you, you the man. What done happened to Sherman's career? It's really over the end. I want you to give us a kiss, you smelly cockhead coon. I love you.
May I say something here?
Oh, you can say whatever you want, you smelly nigga. Whoopi wrote that.
That's it, Ted. You didn't know I was going to say that. Whoopi had no chance to write it. I don't accept that kind of language. You can call her whatever you want, but you don't talk to me that way or I'll leave.
Well, don't let the door hit you on your big black ass, mama, on the way out of here. Now, where was I?
That's Howard Stern. And we've seen a guy for the last 12 years pretend like he's some voice of integrity, morality, and Donald Trump and the MAGA movement are the worst people on the planet. Good riddance to Howard Stern. I made a point earlier this week that I'll reiterate. There are certain people that have more freedom than everyone else here in America. They can get away with what Howard Stern just had done and put on tape and be in good standing and be celebrated and sign $100 million contracts despite that. And then there are other people that couldn't recover from that. And no one would. Anyway, Steve, do you have any thoughts? What do you think of his exit from center stage?
Long live Fart Man. And I can't say that I was a daily viewer where I really got my most exposure to him. I don't know if you watched it, but I think every Saturday night before E! Entertainment did a video version of his show, they used to do like a weekend wrap-up of the best moments of his week. And there was a time that he absolutely was cutting edge. And we have to admit this. He was a pioneer. He was the biggest name in radio. He won every war. He's an absolute titan in that sense. But I also found it ironic that once he signed with Sirius and he wasn't over the terrestrial airwaves, traditional radio, I rarely heard of him. I think there's a price that comes with some of these deals. You might get incredibly wealthy, but I believe that your actual reach contracts. It doesn't really expand. The other thing is, in dealing with like the 180, the flip-flop that he did, Jason, it brings about this question. Should we be suspicious of anybody that goes out of their way to be really preachy about race and to almost always sell you on how racist they're not, and like the fake moral outrage that they now espouse? Those people, I see it in boxing media and I see it with boxing Twitter all the time, a lot of these people going out of their way to show you how unracist they are and to be overly offended by certain things. I always say, why? Why are you doing this? And when I think of people like that, first thing that comes to mind is the 180 of Howard Stern.
CJ, you know anything about Howard Stern?
Well, I'm just going to agree with Steve in that I'm 34 years old. There's never been a single person my age or within my friend group that's how little relevance he has with anybody my age. And so he hasn't been relevant. In 2006, he moved to Sirius XM. I was 16 years old. There was nothing to it. And I get it. He was in 1982. He got syndicated, so it's been a long time. He ruled. But I would tell you, he is, even before his crazy woke turn and all that, he's been a net. Like there were two trailblazers in talk radio. One was Rush Limbaugh, the ultimate net positive, and one was Howard Stern, who's just continued to move the Overton window the wrong direction.
You know what? That's enough on Howard Stern. Help us grow the Fearless Army. Pound that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with all your fearless friends.
I don't give a shit about his ass. I don't watch his dumb ass.
This is the quickest way to clear out stuck poop.
The #1 food for regular.
This one is.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. We're going to have just a quick session with Steve Moore. Everybody knows Steve Moore with the Heritage Foundation, highly respected, one of the most highly respected economists and people that watch your money and know more about your money and your life than probably anybody I can think of. And I want to thank Steve for being here. I saw this today they came out. What he puts out gets a lot of coverage, and
That we were saying.
Where are we today in terms of what Governor Abbott can do to compel them to come back?
I think Governor Abbott has exhausted his means to bring them back. The Supreme Court has made it clear that the Constitution protects the right of anyone to cross interstate lines. Now, that doesn't mean a fugitive who's being charged with a felony, but failure to show up for a quorum call in the Texas House of Representatives is not a felony. Therefore, a warrant doesn't work. The civil, when they're at home or at work or shopping and they refuse to come, they can actually be brought, if they're in Texas, they can be brought from where they are in Texas to the state legislature against their will. But there's nothing the FBI can do, and there's nothing that Texas Rangers, their police force, can do outside of the state because of that.
Which one? The one before the last one?
Now, this
one
doesn't always work. I mean, they have families, they have jobs, they have children. Eventually, the force of that will bring them back. That's what happened the last two times they did this. They claim it'll work this time because this section or this session of the legislature is finite. It ends next Friday. They plan to come back next Saturday. He'd have to call a new session. He'd have to give 2 weeks notice, and then we'd start this all over again.
Okay. All right. So just delay tactic at this point.
Correct.
Because they don't have the votes. The Republicans do.
Correct.
But there's been a question about redistricting in general that's come to light. And a lot of it has to do, the opposition is saying, why are you doing it so soon? Why is this happening now? Texas lawmakers have said, the Republicans, this is legal. Are they right with that?
They are right. They are correct. There's no federal law, and as far as I can tell, there's no Texas law against this. Now, typically, redistricting occurs in years ending in
like
0.
3 days old, but do you want to see that one?
Years we have a national census. The census is mandated.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. We're going to have just a quick session with Steve Moore. Everybody knows Steve Moore with the Heritage Foundation, highly respected, one of the most highly respected economists and people that watch your money and know more about your money and your life than probably anybody I can think of. And I want to thank Steve for being here. I saw this today. They came out. What he puts out gets a lot of coverage. And I'd like to ask Steve maybe to discuss a few of these numbers that were just released. I mean, literally just released. And then we're going over and we're going to do Purple Heart. We have some incredible, brave people that I look forward to. So we're going to do that right after this. Yeah. Steve, could you say a few words about the various charts?
Thank you, Mr. President. So I called the president because I had some very good news from some new data that we've been able to put together that no one has ever seen before, and I'll just very quickly go through these. So I was telling the president that he did the right thing in calling for a new head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, because this shows that over the last 2 years of the Biden administration, the BLS overestimated job creation by 1.5 million jobs. That's Mr. President, that's a gigantic error. And I don't know if she's. I'm not.
It might not have been an error. That's the bad part. If it was an error, it would be one thing. I don't think it's an error. I think they did it purposely.
Whether that, you may well be right, but even if it wasn't purposefully, it's incompetence.
Right.
Okay. So 1.5 million jobs overestimated. We have access to the. We have access to the some data that no one else does on what has happened month by month with median household income. This is based on unpublished Census Bureau data. It will be released sometime in the next 6 months, but we get an advanced look at it. And so I was telling the president in his first 5 months in office, starting in January through the end of June, the average median household income adjusted for inflation for the average family in America. That's an
incredible number. Just came out.
Just came out. So that's a giant gain.
And if I would have said this, nobody would have believed it.
So the next one compares, we finally have the 2024 data on what happened with real family income in the United States. And so what I did was I compared the record in Donald Trump's first term with the Joe Biden first term. And you can see that, by the way, these dotted lines here, Mr. President, that's COVID. So
if it had not been for COVID, these numbers would have been substantially better. But even taking account President Trump's last year in 2020, we saw a $6,400 real after inflation gain in income for the average family, and that compares with Joe Biden, which was a measly $551. So, Mr. President, you gain 10 times more income for the average family than Joe Biden is because of your policies.
And that's taken into consideration COVID, which a lot of times you don't have to do that. Because we were, I'm very glad you did.
Over almost 8,000 until.
Look at that number.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we looked at which families did the best. And we have data from the Census Bureau that shows by income percentage. So the 25th percentile is the lowest income, 75th percentile is the highest income. And what I find fascinating about this, Mr. President, is every President Trump, the blue is President Biden. Every single income group did better under President Trump. But what's really amazing is look what happened under Biden. The lowest income group lost income under Biden. They were poor 4 years after Biden's presidency. No gain virtually whatsoever for the middle class. And the rich was the only group that did better under Biden, which is ironic because Biden keeps saying he was trying to get rid of income inequality. He made income inequality worse, not better. It was President Trump that reduced income inequality.
These numbers just came out, by the way.
And then finally, these are the numbers just I just showed you in percentage terms. Mr. President, these are the numbers in dollar terms. So even the lowest income, 25th percent, gained about $4,000 in income. That's a lot for a lower income family. $6,400 for the middle class and almost $10,000 for the richest. So you can see every income group did better under Trump than Biden by a wide margin. That's the story.
I think when you look at them, they're all something, but this one chart really says it better than anything. If you look at this is great, but this chart is pretty amazing right here. All new numbers. Okay, so we're going to go now over to East Room, and we're going to celebrate some very brave people with the Purple Hearts. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, do you expect increased trade negotiations, since you've announced the 50% tariff?
No, not until we get it resolved.
Mr. President, is your deadline for Vladimir Putin agreeing to a ceasefire still stand tomorrow, or is that fluid now that talks are...
What?
Is your deadline still standing for Vladimir Putin to agree to a ceasefire tomorrow, or is that fluid now?
It's going to be up to him. We're going to see what he has to say. It's going to be up to him. Very disappointed. Yeah.
Does Putin have to meet with Zelensky in order and before you and Putin have to meet? Or
No.
Are you
So you're willing to, that's actually important because President Putin said this morning he was pretty dismissive of this idea of meeting with President
Who was?
President Putin was.
I don't know. I didn't hear
For you
him.
to meet with him, he doesn't have to agree to meet with Zelensky. Is that what you're saying?
No, he doesn't. No.
So when do you think that meeting?
They would like to meet with me, and I'll do whatever I can to stop the killing. So last month, they lost 14,000 people killed last month. Every week is 4,000 or 5,000 people. So I don't like long waits. I think it's a shame. And they're mostly soldiers. They're Ukrainian and Russian soldiers, and some people from the cities where missiles are lobbed in, and you'll lose 35, 40 people a night, which is terrible. But no, mostly it's soldiers, and you're talking about dying a month. Generally young people, soldiers. We're going to speak about soldiers. We'll see you over for.
Thank you, press. 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 Thank you, press.
Watch what salt does to your body.
This 7-second artery flush could save your life. Even top doctor.
Where are we today in terms of what Governor Abbott can do to compel them to come back?
I think Governor Abbott has exhausted his means to bring them back. The Supreme Court has made it clear that the Constitution protects the right of anyone to cross interstate lines. Now, that doesn't mean a fugitive who's being charged with a felony, but failure to show up for a quorum call in the Texas House of Representatives is not a felony. Therefore, a warrant doesn't work. The civil arrest warrant will only work if they're in Texas and they're at home or at work or shopping and they refuse to come. They can actually be brought, if they're in Texas, they can be brought from where they are in Texas to the state legislature against their will. But there's nothing the FBI can do, and there's nothing that Texas Rangers, their police force, can do outside of the state because of that protection. Now, this doesn't always work. I mean, they have families, they have jobs, sure. They have children. Eventually, the force of that will bring them back. That's what happened the last 2 times they did this. They claim it'll work this time because this section or this session of the legislature is finite. It ends next. To call a new session, he'd have to give 2 weeks notice, and then we'd start this all over again.
Okay. All right. So just delay tactic at this point.
Correct.
Because they don't have the votes. The Republicans
Correct.
do.
Correct.
But there's been a question about redistricting in general that's come to light. And a lot of it has to do, the opposition is saying, why are you doing it so soon? Why is this happening now? Texas lawmakers have said, the Republicans, this is legal. Are they right with that?
They are right. They are correct. There's no federal law, and as far as I can tell, there's no Texas law against this. Now, typically, redistricting occurs in years ending in 0, because in those years we have a national census. The census is mandated by law. The redistricting can occur whenever the state legislature wants it, not Congress, state. This was part of James Madison's brilliance when he crafted the Constitution. The states will decide from which districts members of Congress come. The feds don't do it. However, if the Congress were to enact and the president were to sign, I don't think he would, but if he did, legislation to prohibit redistricting between the numbers with zeros, that would be constitutional because Congress can delay it. Can't compel it, but it can delay it.
Yeah, we talked to a state representative in Texas yesterday on National Report, assuring us that to do this redistricting plan.
Does it happen every year?
Well, what this is going to do is copycat. Now, California is going to do it, probably New states as well. So I don't know what the net benefit to Republicans will be. There might actually be a net deficit depending upon what these other states do.
It's also important to point out too, and I know this doesn't have to do with legality process, but they're also voting on money for those victims in the flooding. There are other things on the table that those that have fled are abandoning their posts.
This will come back to bite them politically because money for the victims is a very, very popular thing to do in Texas, and they're holding it up. Look, I looked at the map that Governor Abbott's people have proposed, and there is a congressional district. I mentioned this the other day. There was one in North Carolina 30 years ago that the court invalidated. You know how wide it is? A highway. It's a highway wide. That might pique the Supreme Court's interest. They'll say, well, this is not a real district because nobody lives on this highway.
I could show you Illinois and it would show you the same thing, though.
You're correct.
You know what I mean?
So in order to avoid that, the Supreme Court has limited itself to race. If it's done for racial purposes, we will get involved. If it's done for some other purpose, we're not going to get involved in how wide the district needs to be.
Finally, Judge, President Trump's plan to potentially federalize D.C. What happened?
About the crime, but it would take an act of Congress to do it. If he brings the National Guard in to supplant or to complement the police, I think a federal judge would halt it. But if Congress says the Congress is now going to run D.C., we are bigfooting the D.C. City Council. They can't do that anywhere else, but they can do it in D.C. Why? Because of the Constitution. The Congress can say we own the District of Columbia if they want to do that because of the Constitution, but the president can't do it on his own. It doesn't mean he won't try.
Information, truth, is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.
Well, next one.
Should President Trump remove Pride Month and replace it with Veterans Month? We believe the people who spent risking their lives for this.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America, and President Donald Trump is not playing around anymore. Before we get started, please make sure y'all like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. You know, Gavin Newsom has challenged President Trump and his administration, essentially. He is sticking to keeping his state a sanctuary state, which is crazy to me for a guy who wants to be president, in my opinion, in 2028, that he would continue to be on the 20 side of an 80-20 issue. But here he is, he's still pressing it. Now, yesterday, what happened was the ICE agents, Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, under Operation Trojan Horse, started raiding Home Depots in California and arresting illegal immigrants. You guys know Home Depots are hotbeds for quick work that they can get at somebody's house, cash money, and go home. And these are not, all the time going to be horrible people. A lot of times they're just people looking for work. I feel for that. But we have a process in this country to come in legally. You made a choice to break the law to come here. Nobody forced you to do that. And now, for your choice, there are consequences. You can't stay here. It's like if you went to somebody's house and you just stepped inside and said, look, I need a place to sleep. Okay, well, I understand that. I understand your problem, but you're in my house. I didn't invite you in. It's the same concept. This raid was conducted perfectly, with precision, and nobody got hurt. I think it's a big victory for the Trump administration. I want you to watch this and let me know what you think in the comments.
Homes and buildings threatened.
Now to a controversial raid by immigration agents targeting a Home Depot parking lot. Their tactics drawing similarities to a story from ancient Greece. Protests in Los Angeles last night after an immigration raid being dubbed Operation Trojan Horse.
Bro, they got raided right now.
It unfolded just before 7 a.m. ICE agents pulling up to a Home Depot, waiting in the back of a rented Penske moving truck before opening the doors, jumping out, and detaining vendors and day laborers. The Department of Homeland Security saying it arrested 16 undocumented immigrants from Mexico and Central America. But Appeals Court, which upheld a temporary restraining order against indiscriminate immigration stops and arrests in 7 California counties.
Whatever terms of that temporary restraining order, it's only as effective as somebody's willingness to enforce it.
DHS claims the MS-13 gang has a chokehold on the area where the raid was conducted, which is why that location was chosen.
The question moving forward really depends on whether Judge Frimpong thinks there was compliance. If she doesn't, if she decides to hold the U.S. government in contempt, and then what happens next? Do they stop these raids, or do they continue to try and push forward?
The raid coming just one day after federal officials announced plans to expand an immigrant detention center in Indiana by 1,000 beds. Homeland Security calling the facility, not far from where the Indy 500 is held,
Where you at, LIBTARD?
Don't mix pink salt with lemon and 2 other ingredients if you don't want to donate your entire wardrobe in less than a week. Don't believe me?
President Trump has just made one of his biggest and best moves for the country. Democrats are furious because they know this means the end of their cheating. Apple commits another $100 billion to American manufacturing and jobs.
We've seen it already.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America, and we have some breaking news from the FBI. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel.
We've seen that too already. Okay, we're gonna. Well, I mean, right now, I don't know who's really on there. What do you think, Jericho? What do you think, buddy? What do you think, Jericho? Because I know LIBTARDs, man, they love tardy. They don't want to hear nothing. We can try, unless you got me a link that you want to post to me right now, we can try and play one. If you got a link that you want me to play, put it on there, Jericho. Because I gotta go to the Justice Show, see if I can find something. Because I've been watching a lot of stuff there. A lot of stuff that we're already seeing, so. You gotta go? Alright, Jericho, well, you have a good night then, kiddo. And we're gonna go ahead and end the live stream, but thank you guys for tuning in. We know the LIBTARDs don't care, but you all have a good night. LIBTARDs, don't forget to pray to the Lord. Remember, Trump is your president. He's our president, general-wise. I know, it's a lot of good stuff. Thank you, Gerald. So, I know you eat your hot pockets, get back down your basement. Maybe your little bitch will get ready for you tonight. Maybe you do a little dance for y'all. I know you guys can't wait to see him tonight. That's probably more fun watching him play around with himself. Because you guys like that kind of stuff. Alright, adios everybody. Good night.